What's up, guys? It's Craisins here, and we are starting a new show today called the Pat McAfeebas Show. I'm here with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Skylar. I think it's my first time on the Craziness channel, and I'm just beyond blessed to be here.
Yes, it's incredible to be here, but we are here for both a preseason BPDL tier list and a recap of BPDL week one. Unfortunately, since our schedules didn't align, we couldn't get the tier list out prior to week one, but luckily, we're here to recount it now. Okay. Do you have anything else to say? Or
No, I think you pretty much said it. I'm excited.
all right, me too. We're going to move right into Dave's tiers of BPDL season 5 going into week 1. So to start off, we're going to start off with the bottom tier here. And we're going to just go through the tiers, and then after I've gone through them all, Skylar's going to critique them, tell me what I did wrong, and why the tiers are bad. So we'll start off with new and exciting. We've got 4 teams down here. Cinder's Ace, the Cincinnati Cinder Aces, the Washington Genesects, and the Chennai Super Kingdras. Now, these 4 teams have never played BPDL singles before, and so honestly, we're just excited. Put them on the bottom of the tiers because we don't know how good they are, and hope to see them do well this season.
We'll see
Um,
what happens.
yes, we will. So this second to the bottom tier called Experts Don't Believe. Now that's because experts do not believe in these teams. However, I think they have a lot of potential. I think the experts could be wrong. And these teams, they obviously were a little mediocre last single season, but they're looking to come back and be amazing this season. Anyway, that's the Sinnoh Subdolls, Scarlet and Green, Cerulean Sylveons, and Toledo Toxtricities. So then moving on up, we've got Show Me Playoff Success. Now here we got 4 teams that have done pretty well in the regular season, but unfortunately, they've all fallen short when it comes to the playoffs. The Pyroll Challengers have twice. Beaver Creek Braviaries, I think, have lost twice in the playoffs as well in 2 seasons. They're both 0-2. Las Vegas Latias missed the playoffs and then lost immediately in the playoffs last season. Columbus Carvana, same deal, missed the playoffs the first season and lost in the first round last season. So these teams have shown regular season success, but I just want to see it in the playoffs before I move them higher. Next up, division win potential. Now, the first 2 of these teams, the Ottoville Oshawots and Columbus Clodsires, they won playoff games last season. Very impressive in their first singles seasons. And Baltimore Typhlosion had a very tough first round matchup, but honestly came in and shocked me with how good they were last season. And, you know, I think that this season, I look for all 3 of these teams to take a huge step forward. Next up, we got the top tier contenders. Now we got the Florida Bulldor and the Dayton Dragonites. They showed postseason success last season, and I think they will be able to be competing for that title at the end of this season. Then we've got Trophy Watch now. The Naples Knackley here and the Miami Durant were in the final 4 for the Miami Durant and final 2 for Naples Knackley last season. They're obviously great teams, and I mean, they're looking for the trophy. There's not much more up to go besides winning the league for them. And of course, the top of the tiers, we have the Cleveland Zygardians in a potential
Yeah,
singles three-peat on the board for them. So with that, Skylar, what do you think?
sure. Do we want to start from the top or from the bottom?
Let's start from the top.
All right, the Cleveland Zygardians. For the people at home who don't know, how many total draft leagues have you won at this point?
12.
12?
Yep.
That's a lot of draft leagues, is all I'm saying. And I think that the Cleveland Guardians are a pretty clear front runner. But at the same time, I think that puts a pretty big target on their back. And so I think it's gonna be a tough season. Everyone's gonna be bringing their best, but David is the best. So what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah,
I think
for
I think the other thing to point out is if you look at the team that the Zygardians have assembled for the season, there's a lot of Hall of Famers in there. Is all I'm gonna say. There's a whole lot of talent on that roster, and I think with from top to bottom, coaching staff, like players, I think the Zygardians are going to be very difficult to beat this season. I might say that right off the bat, I expect a three-peat from the Guardians.
Wow, calling it on the week one show. That's a
Yeah,
lot, pretty bold.
you can quote me on that. When he loses the next 3 weeks, DM me, whatever.
I'm in.
I think moving down,
Yeah.
um, I'm not as familiar with Rom's game with the Naples NAC League, but I know that he just won Pico season what, three,
Yep.
four, season three.
Yep.
So he's sold me. I think he belongs right in that tier.
Yep.
I think the Miami Durant in Trophy Watch. I think Kyle as a coach. I think his biggest strength is his brand. You think
Yeah,
the
that's for
Miami
sure.
Durant. You think Sun. I have never not seen the Miami Durant run a Sun team, and everyone in the league knows that. And so nobody drafts Sun into the Miami Durants. And so all of his picks go uncontested. And so he's got a superstar squad assembled. And I think that team, with a really good coach at the helm, can go very, very deep.
I agree. You think he should be moved down to top tier contenders though, or you think he belongs in Trophy Watch?
I think he belongs right there where he is.
All right.
I think the top tier
Oh,
contenders.
sorry.
I think I think I've got a couple that might show some bias. I think all the teams in there I think belong. Um, Particularly the Columbus Clodsires. I think Gavin is a friend of mine, and he's a guy who he thinks a lot and doesn't think at the same time, if you know what I'm saying. And so I think he's a dude who he knows ball, is what I'm saying. And sometimes his hands click faster than what he knows, and it's apparent to him maybe the turn after. And so I think my hot take is I think Gavin can go very far in this season here if he just slows down. I think that would be my one in that tier that I would push up or down. But
I
it
see.
depends on what he's bringing. And I think he can bring it.
I think that's a base take, and I like to hear it.
I think the other two teams I don't know as much about them, but from their records I believe I think they're in the right spot.
Glad you feel that way. Yeah, I feel that too.
All right, down to the show me playoff success tier. I think this tier is interesting. Um, I might be partial to the big man. I think I might have a little bit of history with Nico, and I
Yes.
think the Las Vegas Gladiators. I actually would put them as a top tier contender. I think
Wow.
I think they've got a good squad this season, and I think Nico's a real top tier coach, and
Uh,
so I think he needs to go way way up.
All right. I can see that. It's just like the tier says. Once I see that playoff success from him, like I know he's been very successful outside of BPDL, but it's a real scrum in here. We've got some high level players, and I want to see it to believe it. You call me a
I hear
doubting
ya.
Thomas.
I'd like to. I mean, when the Las Vegas Gladiators get under pressure, what do they do? And I think that's not what I've seen a whole lot of. And so I think if he doesn't crumble under pressure, I think he could easily be a top tier contender.
I would agree. I would agree.
I, th- I think the Beaver Creek Birds are another team that I see in there. I think that team is. I could put them up one or keep them right there. I think they're in a pretty good spot. I think that I think that Nick as a coach is one of the better coaches that I've seen.
For sure.
Um, and I think he doesn't spend a whole lot of time with Pokemon either. I think if you look at all these other teams, I have a feeling that they prep a lot more than Nick, and Nick still wins quite a bit. And so I think when he puts his head in the game, he's as good as anybody. Um, but I think show me playoff success is a great tier for him right now.
All right.
But if he makes a deep run, I think I'd be willing to say I told you so.
I and you're making the prediction right here. If he does, then I was wrong. Yeah. All right.
I think moving down to experts don't believe.
Sure.
Um, I think that a lot of these teams, this is a team of the people who cook. Is kind of the tier, and these
Yeah.
people I think they all bring really interesting sets, and I've seen special Tyrannotars coming out of the woodworks. I've seen it all, right? Like we get a bunch of funky, like sometimes the Palafin clicks surf,
Yeah.
and that's what the experts don't always see. I think the thing that these four teams really encapsulate is that the problem with being a visionary is that only you can see it, and I think all these people see it, and so I wouldn't count a single one of these teams out.
All right. I would agree with you there. Like I said, the experts don't believe. I might not be an expert, but I also see some potential in this tier. Any thoughts on the new and exciting teams, or are we just gonna let them make their resumes themselves?
I mean, if we just look at that tier right now, I see two Cinderaces and one Genesect. And so I think, spoiler alert, I think Genesect might burn a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that is a theme of the our week one news. The Genesec's not proving to be a BPDL worthy franchise thus far, but we hope we hope that they will improve. Yeah. All right. So if that's all our tiers, then if you don't have anything else to say, let's move on to week one, the highlights from it. Now, this is an important trade that occurred on the Ottaville Oshawotts, trading Kamalo in exchange for Iron Crown. Um, this is a pretty big trade as that team had pretty much no psychic, fairy, or dragon resists, and adding Iron Crown gives it a psychic, fairy, and dragon resist, which is important. Any thoughts on this, Skylar?
Yeah, I mean, I think a strength in draft league is making your picks early and making your transactions early. And so if if the Ottawa Oshawots don't think it works, I think that's great that they went ahead and made this move. I think
I I
I
do
think
too.
this is a good I think this is a good move for the Oshawots.
I do too. I do too. Especially after seeing that as they had a tough game against a psychic type Delphox, you're dropping the psychic, fairy, and dragon weaknesses of Combo and adding a resist in all three with Iron Crown. Great move. I give it an A plus. All right. And
I agree.
speaking of that game, we had a tweet sent out by Iron Valiant. Bro had no fair resist to guess we play in favorites. Now, obviously, it seems that he is upset. He didn't get any reps in there, and Delphox did. What do you think about this? Do you think this could be a problematic for the Zygardians team culture?
I think it could be. I mean, this kind of locker room talk, you put a bunch of, as I said earlier, you put a bunch of all-stars together, and some of them might feel like they're not getting all the glory that they deserve because they're going to have to share with all the other all-stars. And so I think Iron Valiant is absolutely feeling that pressure.
For sure, for sure.
And
We're
so,
definitely. Oh, sorry, you go.
yeah, I think it's up to I think the Zygardians. It's really going to come down to coaching. Can you keep the locker room satisfied this season?
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And that is something we're going to have to keep a close eye on for the rest of the season. Um, Then, with a tragic loss by the Miami Durant, Kyle did appear before the press and gave the quote, "I'm just disappointed in myself," with this picture for the press. What are your reactions to this?
Yeah, I mean, short term, right? That's a pretty big loss, But as I said earlier, Kyle's a great player, and if I know him, he's going to be able to catch up,
That he is. I mean, think about how much courage he mustered just to get this interview out. I mean, that guy,
right?
wow. I, he's just an inspiration to all of us.
Yeah, I think he's just got to keep his head up and keep chugging. He'll make it.
I agree.
I fully believe.
I agree. So with that, we'll move on so free agent Articuno has released a statement saying, I would love to play, but if the Washington Genesects are going to make a free agency move, my couch is pretty comfy. Really, this just seems like he'd like to play, but just not for the Genesects. What are your thoughts on this, and how does this affect the Genesects season?
Yeah, I think Articuno's a guy who's probably chilling around tier 5, tier 6, if I'd have to guess. I haven't
Yep.
looked at the tiers myself. but I think I think Articuno, as probably as someone who pays attention to the Genesex, was not very happy with that week 1 performance. So I think, yeah, personally, I don't know if Articuno going undrafted is in a place to be picking teams here, but if Articuno doesn't want to play for the Genesex, I think that's something the Genesex might need to adjust.
I mean, I agree. I think it really does say something about this franchise if an undrafted tier five doesn't want to play for him. I mean, I think that's just really the coach has to go look himself in the mirror and think about how he can improve this organization.
The one thing I will say about the Genesex that I'm not sure if Articuno's done their homework or not, but I have seen the Genesex run teams of upwards of like 3 to 4 ice types in draft and actually win. Like the damage I've seen the Genesex do with Galarian Darmanitan is pretty impressive. So I think Articuno might want to watch its mouth because I think I think ice types on the whole get a pretty bad rap, and I think the Washington Genesex actually could be a team that could foster success within the ice type.
But we'll have to keep a close eye on this story, and let's hope Articuno does find a team and that the Genesex find their stride. So with that, we got the rundown on week one. So first point, Naples Knackley 6-0, no questions. They're here to win. They're looking for a championship. You have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean that's the game speaks for itself, right? 6-0, you kill 6 Pokemon, lose 0. That's a win in pretty much everybody's book.
I mean, for sure. It really is just a math game for them. They're here analyzing and winning. And and additionally, on the flip side, we've got Washington Genesix appear to be a poverty franchise. Now, they had a pretty bad week one. Um, they didn't lose 6-0, but it was just the whole game was uninspiring. What did you think about it?
I think the Washington Genesex were a team from the newcomers that I was expecting to make a big splash. And I don't think that happened week 1. I don't think I don't think it's over for them per se, but I think we just gotta watch and see what the Washington Genesex took up for week 2 and week 3 and onward.
For sure. Next big point, you were talking about the Clodsires. You think they might be able to make a deep run, but the Clodsires conquer Columbus in the Battle of Columbus and head down to Cerul or head for Cerulean. So honestly, they look like they're on a warpath. The Clodsires are 1-0 and headed off to try and win in Cerulean. What are your thoughts on that? You think this could be indicative of a deep playoff run potential?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're the Columbus Clodsires facing the Columbus Carvana, you got a double home game here. Kind of not something we see in sports too often,
For
but
sure.
I think being able to conquer when you're both at home, I think that says a lot about your abilities. So I think heading for another C location, I think I expect the Cloudsiders to keep up the momentum. I think it was a big win in week 1. Ready to watch them roll into week 2.
I agree. Um, Next up, we got Cinderace's Ace Cinder's Ace. So two of the new teams, the two new Cinderaces teams throw down, and the Cincinnati Cinderaces come out on top. I mean, I think that speaks for itself. They're here to make a statement when they come into the league. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's how speed ties go, right? The one who
Yeah,
moves first usually wins.
for sure, for sure. The Cleveland Zygardians three-peat, alive and well. They took a 5-0 win in their first game, with a lot of Delphox action in it. Did you have any big takeaways from that? I know you seem to believe in the three-peat. Um, do you think this is a good sign?
I mean, I think on a team full of superstars, if Delphox is finding a way to shine, I think that's a pretty good sign for the Zygardians.
I would agree. I would agree. And speaking of Delphox, Delphox has the kill leader in Scarlet with 5 kills, but in Gray there is a three-way tie between Samurott, Sui, Iron Valiant, and Landorus. Who do you think can come out on top at the end of this season?
Personally, I don't think Samurott Hisui is a killer. I think that Samurott is a Pokemon that's going to do a lot of passive damage, right? But it's not going to pick up a whole lot of one hit KOs. So I would expect either Iron Valiant or Landers to pull away with this one. But I think we're just gonna have to see how it progresses. I don't see a clear winner out of the two.
Oh, I could see that. I could see that. I wanted to say I don't think Delphox is going to end the season on a kill leaderboard, just because as we've hit on, it's such a star-studded team around it. It's going to be tough for Delphox to get all of the kills. Um, and next up, we've got goat coal fraud allegations. Now, on the Miami Durant, they like to refer to Torkoal as goat coal, but it is 0-1 in both its KD and its record. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean the records don't lie, right? And I think the GOAT authority here might be in question, right? Is Torkoal actually the GOAT, or are there better Sun Pokemon? I think that's something that we might be able to see live here this season. So as I said earlier, I think the sun will shine on the Miami Durant again.
Yes, I would have to agree. And finally, Tara Deerling. Now, not a pick that many experts thought was going to pan out, but the stocks are rising. Many are saying that it could be the key to the Sinnoh Subdoll's success. What do you think?
Yeah, I see a lot of talk on social media about this Tara Deerling and what is this Tara Deerling going to do to the league? And personally, I don't know, but I think if Articuno's here on the bench, not wanting to play, and Tara Deerling is, put him in, give him a
I
shot, see what he'll do.
I couldn't agree. And putting in these low tier Terramons, I mean, that is the exact kind of thing we see from President Butts. I mean, it's just, I agree. I think it needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean that might be a theme for this season. We'll see a lot of President Butts like activity. I have a feeling,
I
but
agree.
I think as far as week one goes, I think we had a great week one, and Tara Deerling didn't show up, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we need to get that kid on the field.
I couldn't agree more. With that, we are. Do you have any final thoughts on week one or on the tiers for the audience?
Yeah, okay, audience, listen. I know a lot of you know us, and probably a lot of you are in this, okay? And so don't cancel us or any of that crap, okay? Keep it, let's keep it friendly here. If you have any problems, just DM us. We'll take off some heat if there's too much, okay? So we're just here to have fun.
That we are. Um, yeah, so with that, I guess we'll see you guys next week, or if we live stream a game, we'll see you then, which is something
Yes,
else.
we might do some commentating this season. The Pat McAfeebas Show is multifaceted.
That it is. So with that, we'll see you guys in the next episode.